Hello my friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols. That is one of my new bracelets, and I consider them more like amulets. I am related to Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, who was a famous propagator of the Hasidic movement from the Russian-Polish border area there. And as I grew older, and am growing older, I've learned more about him and how really fascinating and wonderful of a human and spirit he was. And he was also an amulet maker and a healer, so that is really cool. So in honor of him, I have been doing the same and making things from recycled pieces of art. And when the spirit hits me, someone will receive it. Here's a really cool one that I made recently that has this beautiful purple stone, recycled copper, and it has, you can't really tell, but right here is one of those electric lighter things, and when you click it, the wire here jumps to the copper. So it's actually powered on several levels. This one's really cool. This one already has a receiver. This is the pink quartz one. Just the natural stone itself. It's beautiful pink quartz. And I made other ones that are just simple with different stones attached on the leather bracelets. And this is one from some of those cool pieces of magnetite that I made. That's one of the most stylish ones. An absolutely gigantic, ridiculous wizard's ring. A compass ring. I think that's a compass. An incredible crystal necklace. Just a few of these different things, and they make me feel good to make others feel good. And so anyway, I wanted to have a little chat with you guys about craft, and specifically what we might expect from advanced craft. And this is as all of these new technologies become accessible to society, with great power comes great responsibility. And it is not just a line in a movie. It is such a truism. And as you gain greater power as an individual, either through political means, through esoteric means, or however, you have greater and greater responsibility to wield that power and those abilities with grace, with compassion, with love, with tremendous patience, selflessly, without self. I think it's hard to truly understand the word selfless and its possibilities. Regardless, I think that if we have smart cars now, it's not illogical to presume in the future they could be so smart as to be considered conscious by humans, and quite possibly much smarter than us. Now, this consciousness could be a piece of a shared consciousness. So not only could you be hurting one creature, you could be hurting many. The entire connected species. There have been cases of craft that have displayed within their wreckage catalyst liquid, almost like blood. And there are many cases of experiencers communicating directly with craft, and craft teaching them, almost like a mother computer on a craft. And you would think that an ultra-advanced craft, cars nowadays sense your responses. They read your eye motions, or when you get sleepy even. They see behind you for you. They provide all these safety things for you. You could imagine the same is true of ultra-advanced technologies like perhaps some of these craft that are visiting us. Now, we know from the Chris Mellon leak, which is a very substantial, important leak. That leak is what they were taking to Congress and briefing Congress with. They were briefing Congress based on OSAP and ATIP's research and the conclusions of many studies on the varied phenomena. And out of all of the things, out of all of the vulnerabilities that the United States has, that are imposed on us by the presence of these advanced craft, the greatest vulnerabilities, as determined by OSAP and ATIP, were this list of abilities on slide 9. And those abilities were all abilities of the field. They were all esoteric abilities. Things like instantaneous sensor disassembly, which is the exact quote, meaning multiple times sensors have been tried to be put on these different phenomena, from locations to craft to other types of phenomena, and these mechanisms, these human-made machines, are not messed with electronically like you might think, hit with some beam or ray that we don't understand. They are somehow instantaneously disassembled. And I think they're probably also talking about the many cases when we've tried to shoot down these craft. We've tried to lock on missiles and something happens. And I used to think, maybe they're jamming it, or they know how to, break into the computer, encryption system, and no. Instantaneous sensor disassembly. And those of you who know that 150 years of DICE studies prove the mind's ability to affect matter, the two-slit experiment hint at consciousness's incredible power to make reality spring into life, and that your consciousness helps in the least to co-create reality. So, putting these pieces together, you have to think that we, by our actions and interactions with these craft, are we making enemies that we don't want to pick a fight with? Are we making a group that's doing something to protect us at a level we cannot understand because of their advancement? And by showing hostility towards them, we go against all of their most positive thoughts about us. Perhaps they're not landing on the White House or talking to us because maybe they could be a little ashamed of us. Maybe we might be like barbarians to them. That's how we might look at a less advanced society. We look, I'm sure, at primitive tribes, who just run around with spears at different places around the world as maybe less people somehow. No. But maybe, perhaps, we have a lot of mental changes to go through. New responsibilities and a new openness that we must bring ourselves to, a new honesty. We must throw away war. Now that these abilities and these many different possibilities are here, the possibility for beyond hypersonic invisible, metamaterial, MIRV, multiple reentry vehicle, nuclear weapons are possible. Humanity can't survive this next level of weaponry based on this technology. Humanity can't survive this level of technology as it is just now with our nuclear weapons if we had a horrific accident. And as technology gets more and more powerful, fewer and fewer people can do more and more damage with less and less. So there's obviously only one solution to that dilemma of technology, and it's a real solid dilemma. As technology gets more powerful, a society has to fear lone wolves. And maybe we can turn it around and find something wonderful in it. That we can all empathize with each other, and we should empathize with each other. And we should teach our kids empathy, not only so that their abilities, like I can demonstrate, and many others who work on empathy and resonance and intuition, as we can demonstrate, if you teach someone empathy, they will not only be better, more caring people, but they will display these abilities. We'll have a better society. There will be no lone wolves. And that's the kind of society. It doesn't have to be a hive. We don't have to be a robotic hive to care and connect with each other. We have these abilities naturally. And maybe these actions that we're taking against these craft, maybe they're giving us an opportunity to show ourselves, reveal what kind of creatures we are by our actions. It would almost remind me of being at a zoo, and as a zookeeper, presenting an item to a leopard to see if the leopard attacks it or cares for it, and I'm sure the leopard thinks it's in control of its universe, and it's the real master as it struts around its created pen. But maybe like the leopard, maybe there's a justification by our zookeepers that they're doing this to protect our species genetically and its variants, and to protect biology, and to teach us this level of responsibility. There's so many different aspects of it. It's not just that we have to throw away war. We have to open up the reality that we are not that special. It's the opposite of what we've always thought. We are the opposite of special. We're one of an ocean. Of course we're special, but we're not unique. We're very special, but we're not unique. We're part of a big family. The universe is created for life. It would have no meaning without life. We are going to find out in the near future that Mars has microbial life living on it now, under the surface. And we will find life all over our solar system. And that the nature of solar systems is to breed life on planets with the power sources that the sun and gravimetric forces provide. So we have so many new responsibilities with anti-gravity, the ability to control gravity and anti-gravity and have new power systems. Those two things alone present so many responsibilities, and we must resist the temptations for dark paths and paths that lead to power for self, temporary power for self. You know, there's lots of leaders who want to take land and claim land for their countries and be stronger countries and have stronger borders. And perhaps we need to think more as one race, and we will realize our preciousness when we realize there are so many other races. We'll realize that our wars with each other are really ridiculous, and that every human is super precious. But I don't know, I'm kind of rambling on this episode, but I was really thinking about craft and how someone like me, who I understand how to utilize the field. Is it possible and to utilize my brain waves? I can, as you guys have seen, activate any one of my brain waves to very high states and have them be the highest brainwave state, which I've learned is very unusual. But what if metamaterial can react, or even by its incredible efficiency, power an entire craft by the energy level of these hertz? If you can harmonize, resonate those hertz at the right frequency, maybe even create a material that, like Tom DeLonge said, acted as a waveguide for consciousness. Maybe people like me can test metamaterial in ways that others couldn't, to prove these thoughts about these craft being so smart that we can interact with them through consciousness, as you would expect. Anyway, lots of interesting thoughts, and I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of remote viewing today. I'm having another episode of Histories No Longer Mysteries coming up very soon. Much love.